Okay, right, Ian. These are my slides, and basically, as it says here, it's about innovation, and this is you'd want some of my history, some of my dental histories here on a website that I made a while ago called teethforlife.org.uk. As you can see there, I made it during COVID, and on that section about me, there's a video explaining why I've created the Dental Health Service app. So I've got a YouTube channel, and the reason for making the YouTube channel was, when I had my practice, I couldn't get hold of the corporate that had bought it. I tried everything. Then I sent a YouTube channel. Then they come straight across to me, and within 2 days, were going to do me for constructive dismissal. Anyway, that's the power of YouTube's. You think, oh, that's a lesson. Anyway, so I made lots of those videos. So in that section back there, you can find me and my career as such. And I kind of then run it through one of these AIs and a few other things. And I got a book. Well, the book I think took me the weekend, but it covers the 40 years, as it says there, of wasted opportunities. So what I'm going to talk about is the reason that I know you guys is I initially started listening to a podcast called, it was, it wasn't the Mad Hygienists. I'll have to remember the name, but it was Melissa and Sonia, and it was Hygienists Gone Wild or Dentists Gone Wild. Anyway, and then I got onto your site, and then I saw this 20 seconds really of a webinar that I can't find, and it's Sarah talking, but the video's down there. So on YouTube, it's on the SDF research. Anyway, the first slide showed me next to a scarecrow, and clearly I spent hours making this. Or maybe I spent like a minute on my phone. That's AI. So the outcome of that was that I got interested in SDF, and so at the weekend, I think at the last meeting I was banging on about using SDF in these reservoirs and how it can help people reduce pneumonias. And so what I've done is that I'll probably add this, but I'll make a better video, so people who don't go miss this, which will be a fantastic webinar, will be able to view it again. And so, that's the innovation. That's the reservoir where you put in the SDF, and the interesting part is no one does any research on it. So if they click on it, it'll see the paper that I got generated using AI from Storm, which is Stanford University, which means it's probably more accurate than Cochrane reviews, which is what we all know about as dentists. And during COVID time, I also made a website which is called Denflix, and I think it's still available, although sometimes because of my computer skills and genuine lack of IT knowledge, I think everyone can see them, but I know that you can't. So hopefully you can see this on Denflix. And then when you go down, that's the video of me saying how to make a video, but it's about 6 years old, and I used it for my old dental app, which no longer exists, but you can find it on one of the many videos I've made on YouTube. So at the start, I think it said, or it will say, we're going to have a little interlude of like 5 minutes, and it's following this chap. So when I first heard of Ken Robinson on the left, he still had over 20 million views. Now he's got 80 million views, and it's all about creativity. And I love what the little girl says in there. He's a fantastic storyteller, and people like a story, as you know. They don't like facts. The other guy, Jamie Hayward, he's a storyteller. He's got a tragic story, and you know what motivates him? Probably what motivates me, to be fair, is because, obviously I love my family, and, there you go. So, right, so the other next bit is that what Jamie did was he used his IT skills to ask people what worked for them. There's very few on Perio, but if you actually join the site, which I have done, and type in certain things, it's what people take. So back in the day when I looked at it and was on it, people who had MS were taking, smoking cannabis or taking it in any other forms, and found out it was really good. And that's what's really interesting, is that pharmaceutical companies often put a barrier, just like big tobacco did back in the day. So, the other day we spoke about innovation and the guy in the suitcase and putting wheels on the suitcase. So this, I know loads of these stories. I've listened to loads of this stuff. They're really great stories. It's far better than dentistry. But anyway, the story is about back Nokia, when they first got going. They had a problem with mobile phones because the signals kept dropping off. And rumour has it, and this is a story, but as was the way there's probably about 10, 20 guys sitting around a table saying, what are we going to do about this problem? And the woman come round serving the tea, and the problem they had was between masts, that the signal would drop between masts because people were punching in the numbers, punching in the numbers as they were going along. And she said, what you want to do is you punch in the numbers and then send the signal. So it just hits one mast. And that's how they got around the problem. I've got lots of stories like that. But anyway, the other thing was that, if you get a group of people together, the way that you can, sort out an issue, and in this case, the issue is, generally getting care into care homes. But I found this very useful. And it's more useful if there are lots of you putting the little yellow stickers onto a board, or in this case, onto your desktop, right? And that's how you make one. So this was for 3D dentures, which bizarrely I mentioned quite a lot in my website. And the problems we have is this: it's like bureaucracy. Now I'm not sure if this is a video. Yeah, it was a video. So I've made lots of these and I turn them into videos, but I don't think I can put it on my slide. But basically, it's regulation and people who protect their own position. So it's very rare that you get to the top of the tree. And I think that's the case with care homes. You need to talk to the owner, not necessarily the manager. When it comes to health, we're the worst of the lot, the historic things. So I haven't got a slide on it, but basically around the same time the aircraft kept crashing, and they had an open policy of no blame and have a black box. That doesn't happen in health. What do they say? Is you bury your mistakes. Anyway, what we should do is a bottom-up approach. And this will work well. It works well in lots of really good companies. I'm not going to give you the list of companies, but clearly I could do that at a later date. And this is what we want. So I think this is a video as well. The better we get solutions. And the solutions we're after in this instance is getting a mobile service. Now, I've called it an oral health service. I think I keep changing my mind, but an oral health service. And it's the whole dental team. So I know the majority of people that I see with you are therapists, but in the UK, lots of dental nurses can do this. And it varies from country to, Wales, Scotland and England is slightly different. Not as different as the States and all the different states you have. But this is what you can do, as you know, and as you've shown me, and things get smaller and they can also get into a bag. So these are the main things that I've learned from you following my first visit to the States. Well, not my first visit to the States, but my first visit to Portland. And so one's the Silver Diamine Fluoride. And so I'm really keen on this, and I think it can do a lot. It does. The other one was Teledentistry. Well, I haven't got much information on this. The problem is you can't get many videos. People don't release videos, especially on Teledentistry. And it'd be great if someone's got them and handed them on to me. So, yeah, you can see I've made lots of YouTube videos, and most are a few minutes long, but some are quite longer. So I made the Teledentistry, the SDF one, which both, God, that hasn't had many views at all. Well, the other one's had 300 views. But this is different. This has had over 34,000 views on dentures and scanning dentures. And I know this is what Sarah does as well. And I've done it since I've retired, or I've done it with supervised from a guy I've trained, so we did it. This works. This makes money. So from a practical point of view, if you want to make money, you just need to take the redundant scanner that's used less than 10% of the time in the practice. You can take it to a care home or get people to come from the care home to you with the denture. They'll make money. And that's what makes the world go round, as I know. But there's different ways of making money. And so that's what we're trying to do. And different ways of providing a service, which is what we're trying to do. So this is, they were all longer videos. And so I thought, well, no one's going to listen to a long video. And this is going to be hopefully less than 20 minutes. So what I did was I then reduced the videos so that they were like 5 minutes long, and I made 10 pitches for the dental health service, for our National Health Service, because I've been doing this for years. So I had one on, pitch on mouth cancer screening, had a pitch on the 3D dentures, had a pitch on making an app. And the 3 other pitches, if you go in there, there's a pitch on innovation, there's a pitch on health hubs, there's a pitch on screening for children, there's a pitch on screening in care homes. There is no interest in dentistry from our government. We have to do it ourselves, and we have to get organised. And there are different ways of being organised. So anyway, I made the pitches. They're not in video form. It looks like they're in video form, but the short videos that they clearly are, and they then relate to the longer 5-minute videos. But actually, I made those videos as a story. So each video, short is like a story of 20 to 30 seconds to hopefully engage someone to go to the longer one and to engage them to go further. Clearly, you haven't been successful. Anyway, so about innovation, there are lots of stories you can give. So this is just, there are many about Steve Jobs. Yeah, better keep cracking. But this was the one on the iPod. He wanted a single point of contact before to use it. So people didn't have to do what we all do, is to go round through a website looking for the page that we want. And so this is what he came up with the iPod, right? So it's the wheel. And then, of course, what was really innovative at the time, he dumped it. It was his best-selling product for the iPhone, and he incorporated it into the iPhone. Very much like I've done with my 3D printing, I think, and the mouth cancer screening, and and how to check yourself. So this is where I am. I've made these now. And clearly, when I say I made them, I've used AI, which I haven't built, and kind of manipulated it. So if you go onto the careforteeth.org website, which I think I've written down somewhere, then you'll come across the Oral Health Champion. You'll also come across one for dental pain. And so I'm developing these at the moment. Today, 1 or 2 of them are offline, but by Wednesday they'll be back online and they'll be better. And they're also available in 50 languages. So now the idea now is to ask people, what would your innovation be? And then I have like a 5-minute break asking people to put it into the chat box. And so this is, these are some of mine. They're not in innovation, but I have lots of videos, like I say. So this is a playlist for reception videos. If you type in NewMed or look for NewMed, they're just silent videos that you put in a reception area. So this was another one, which is litigation. If you type in litigation, I've got this in Spanish. So this was when I was still working, and so I was worried about being struck off. So I put it out in Spanish, and it explains why we struggle to get a dentist, and we're all responsible. So this one, I knew they weren't going to play, so that's a blank one. And this is the next one. So this one is another playlist on black box thinking, and it's about learning from experience and learning from mistakes, which is something we should all do and share. And we can share anonymously if you get someone like me to say, I did it. And these are the playlists that I've done. So these are part of them. And, they're less than a minute long. And clearly I've learned how to, make video content as such. But the message that of all my videos, so they've been making now for about 8 years, is the same. The message hasn't changed. The only innovations that I think that have happened with prevention are, Silver Diamine Fluoride, been around for 70 years, but it's a best kept secret because it's out of patents. And the 3D printing or scanning. Now there's a lot we can do with that other than a line and other than whitening. There are lots of things that we can do. And then the other one was the Teledentistry. Well, clearly that's a green policy, so we might come up to that. Oh, and this was another one, is how to set up your peer review so we can all learn. So then this is part 2, which is how it all fits together, and the 2 things you need, because one without the other, the people in care homes can't find you. And this should be good, but in effect it's not very good, because no one does the course, because there are a few sites. It costs a fair bit of money, but it's the cost in time. But people can do varnish application online in less than 5 months, and then they can go into care homes and have a lot of skills that are really useful. This was another one. This is another government sort of promotion, and it's trying to promote sustainability. And I went to the course on it a few years ago, and they said they're looking into nitrous oxide, which, as you can see, is less than 1%. And I said, what about the staff and patient travel? How can we reduce that through teledentistry? And that will reduce CO2 emissions. Oh, we haven't got money for that. So why don't you do it? Well, that's another reason why I come to Portland. Prior to that, I was on our LDC for about 25 years, and I was trying to get, we didn't have all the people who were paying for us through the NHS. So I asked the GDC if we could have the people in our area, and they said, well, because of GDPR, you can't. And so then I asked to copy, so the idea was basically to make a website, which I did, but one of them had a really good website, and I asked if I could copy it. And they said, no, we spent a lot of money. And trying to explain to them that we're all in this together, it's all our money, and that way we can save money to put it to better use. It didn't really wash. But the same idea is basically my idea that hasn't changed, is that if we all look at particular resources, we can gradually improve them, and then we just put it to one single part, which in this case would be a dental health service, or as a specialty part in the aura, which is the dental assistant for care homes. Oops, what's that one? So you can register on the website. So that's what the name of the website is, and that's how it registers. And the vast majority of the first things are all about dental nurses, therapists, and hygienists can do, and it's all about prevention. Because if we keep on top of prevention, even at this late stage, it saves an awful lot of problems. And then you can be found on the service. So clearly, I'm on it a lot. But this is the way it would work. And in the long run, while I've said I'd make another dental app, actually we want a PWA, and people will, you can have your own website, but it's different to an app. It's a lot cheaper to run. So you could probably have your own website for about £10 a month, and then you would be supporting what I would say was our dental health service. And on it, what you can do then is you have these, everyone's aware of AI. So all these assistants that I've made at the moment are all using 90%. The only one that hasn't got any of my AI in is the one on dental pain, which is that next one. And there are two I've made on pain. One has 25 of my videos on dental pain, and one has none, and that follows the Scottish guidelines. And I spent a year trying to work it out another way, and then AI progressed so much it just did it for me. And these are the latest versions that I want to add on. And as I say, they're in 50 different languages. And I have made, this isn't the original app I made. The original app I made you can find on YouTube. But this is the sort of thing we can make. And I know what people want to a large extent. But I don't think an app's going to be necessary. If we have a PWA, that has enough. It's cheaper, and you can send notifications, And then this is what you can do. This is for a dental practice. You can add these, the main aura. So I'm hoping just to have a single point of contact on the dental health service. At the moment, I made about 6 because there wasn't enough room in the LLMs, but I've found a way of getting around that now. And so we're making our own. But the videos and the podcasts, they work. They're on Spotify and obviously on YouTube. So yeah, and it works in Welsh. So if anyone's from Wales listening, everything has to be multilingual or bilingual, as we say in Wales. And rydw i'n siarad Cymraeg dipyn bach, because I went to school in Anglesey. But anyway, that's what Welsh looks like. But this is what I want from you, is that most of you will have applied Silver Diamine Fluoride, and hopefully some of you will have taken photos before and after. And the interesting part is, after, the gum looks healthier. And I'm pretty sure that this will help protect people from aspirational pneumonias. But all you got to think is if you had a night guard, or a bleaching tray that had SDF in it at the gingival margin, and people come in who've got, really complex restorative work and can't look after it. If, I think on average it says if you have SDF applied twice a year, it varies from the research, then it stops decay. Then that's a way of hanging on to, what you spent your life hanging on to. So if you want to make, but what I'd want is that you make a video of what you do in the care home, and it's how you do these things, and how you, approach people, problems that you have, how you get around them. Because if you share that information, just we're going to get more from you. The best information I ever got from my dad was from a carer who spoke about mirroring. And so on the care home bot at the assistant at the moment, I think I've added Tika Snow's videos on cleaning people's teeth with dementia, because there are so few about. And you ask, on the Denflix, nearly all my videos, because no university would release them. So that's a different story. So that's where I am now. It's called a dental health service, where we can teach one another and add to it. And I'll use one of these bots in very much the same way. So I've already done that, and I've put stuff in by the CQC in the UK. But if we add all the necessary regulatory stuff, and we have to ask those people who administer it which are the ones to add and which ones not to add, it'll make all our lives a lot easier. And then what we can do is we can just make our own standard operating procedures and forms, and because we'll use ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or whichever one doesn't go bust, and we can update them regularly. And all we also need is probably one lawyer to say, yep, that's okay, rather than have it ambiguous. And this is on the Denflix website, and this is what I had for all our FDs, because they get scared by what we say during dentistry, during their qualifying year. But really, we need to be encouraging them, and we need to encourage people to start their own business, because if we leave it any longer and we have corporates taking over, well, we're all in a mess, because they're only looking after money. So this is how it would work. And obviously, if this works in care homes, it can work in any home or any office. So it's a screening service. But the main thing that we have is your trust. So if you're on it, if you're on the website and you promote yourself so people can find you, and you're actually on it, then they'll listen to it. Because even though AI is very good and it's getting better, we know it's going to be manipulated, and we know we're going to have to pay more for it. But we can make our own oral health service, and that's it. And now I've got to get on a plane. I'm a busy guy.